The meeting to order for the City of Saratoga Springs, Tuesday, July 18th, 2023 at 6:02 PM. Present tonight, I have Councilman Podeska, Councilman Wilden, Councilman Porter, and Councilman Carn is participating electronically. Councilman McComber has been excused this evening, so we do have a quorum. I've asked Councilman Podeska to lead us in our invocation and Councilman Porter to lead us in our pledge. Oh.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this opportunity to meet together as a city. We pray that we'll be able to accomplish the things we have on the agenda tonight. Help us to be concise with our conversations and be able to find those things that will best be suited for our residents here and to come. We thank Thee for the nice weather that we've been able to enjoy and also the rain or the water that we've received up to this point, and pray that it'll continue, that we may continue to have the blessings of water within our city and our state. And we pray that we'll continue to develop the city the way that will help all of us and the residents. And we say these things in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a presentation.
Stand on this side. Good evening. I am very happy to invite you to join us in congratulating and honoring Deputy City Recorder Nicolette Fike for recently earning the Utah Municipal Clerks Association state certification. Yes. Congratulations to Nikki on her accomplishment. And thank you all for supporting our office so we can stay up to date with best practices and the ever-changing legislation every year.
Perfect.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You want a speech for Nikki?
Oh, yes.
What's that?
Mark said you have a speech ready?
Yes.
Speech.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a speech, but like just a little bit of what goes into receiving this.
So,
I know you have to do a bunch of like studies.
yeah, so for the state certification, it's a new one. It's only been around for about 2 years, and there's only about a handful of recorders that have earned it so far. It requires 85 point hours that they call, so like, that's like a 1 point for every 2 to 4 hours of study or webinar or institute that you attend to. And that's divided into education and experience points. It took about 2 to 3 years to get.
Wow.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
all right. Thanks.
Yep. Okay, public input. Time has been set aside for the public to express ideas, concerns, and comments for subject matter not listed on the agenda. We do not have a public hearing tonight, so if you're here for public input, please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Please avoid repetitive comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, and please be respectful in your comments. Anybody here for public input? Seeing none, I will close the public input portion. Any reports from the council? Okay. Mark, administration?
No, we're good, Mayor. I met with most of the council members regarding several topics and issues. We do have a brief need for a closed session this evening.
Okay. Councilman Podeska?
I forgot to report on this a while back, but the fire department held a babysitting training Saturday. And the thing that was interesting is it was posted online, and within 2 hours it was filled. And so it was a very successful class, and luckily my daughter was able to attend that as well, and she was, I thoroughly enjoyed all the different things that they take them through, and so that when they're babysitting, they know the proper protocol and how to take care of emergencies. So it was great.
Great. Okay, consent calendar, I'll entertain a motion.
I had one item.
Oh.
And I apologize for not sending this in before. I just didn't notice it. On the minutes, it says Councilman Carn attended electronically. That was actually me, and he was here in person. So that part where it says I can't participate anymore, it makes it look better than, like me just getting and walking out.
Okay, that works.
So, that was it.
Okay, Councilman Porter?
We haven't made-
Okay, I will
Oh, a
entertain.
motion.
Okay,
I move that we approve the consent items with any staff findings and conditions that are included.
okay, I have a first from Councilman Porter,
Second?
second from Councilman Wilden. Any further discussion?
Do we need to approve like what Wilden?
I think it's
Is it on the
minor.
minute?
They can just make
With
that.
changes by Councilman Wilden.
Oh, okay, second.
Perfect. Okay, Councilman Carn,
Aye.
Podeska,
Aye.
Wilden.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Business item, code amendment, title 1902, 1904, 1908, and 1920.
We're being concise. I have a car in here to drag it.
Okay, you've actually seen this request before, and it was tabled for us to look at the short-term rental definition just a little bit more. And so the highlighted changes are what has changed since last time you've seen it. I just made clarifications on the length of stay between long-term and short-term, and then we took short-term rental out of the dwelling definition. And then we are suggesting that short-term rental be allowed in the zones that are a combination of commercial and residential. And if you have any questions, please let us know.
Okay. Councilman Podeska?
Mayor, I've got one question.
Okay, Councilman Carn?
Sir, on 190202, bed and breakfast, I'm assuming that should read one or more meals per day, not deals per day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. That sounds better.
Are you against deals?
I don't like deals. I'd rather have more meals.
Okay, Councilman Podeska?
Yeah, I just had a question from the Planning Commission minutes on this. I was trying to find that really quick. It was dealing with having hotel removed. Shoot, I'm trying to find that really quick here.
Oh, right. So the Planning Commission recommended adding to short-term language excluding hotels, but we have a separate definition for hotels, and short-term rentals sometimes can be hotels, so we don't really need to add that.
So with the way it's worded right now, does it address that concern that
It
that one
addresses it by
developer brought up?
allowing the short-term rentals in these proposed zones. So we don't want to allow them everywhere. We don't want to allow them in residential zones.
Right.
But in these zones, we do expect to have a combination of residential and commercial, and that would be more fitting in those zones.
Okay, that was great, thanks.
Okay.
You'd have to
There's-
ask, I don't think so.
Do we allow hotels in community, or not community, what is it, CC? Yeah, community commercial.
I would need to look. I don't know if,
I'm not
I'd have to
propo-
pull up the table.
I don't-
Do
I don't
do you want me
think
to pull it up?
We don't.
I think it's just regional commercial.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. There's no other questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve business item number 1 dated today.
I have a first from Councilman Podeska,
Second.
second from Councilman Porter. Any further discussion on the motion?
I think there was some finding.
Yeah, with
Yes, sir.
staff, along with staff findings and
Corrections
conditions.
of language.
Oh, and the changing the language.
Changing D to an M.
Oh, and
Okay.
updating to meals.
Okay. So I have first, second, Councilman Carn,
Aye.
Podeska,
Aye.
Wilden.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Business item 2, the Saratoga Springs Commercial Plat F.
Okay, so this plat was seen by the council in November of last year, and there was a that plat F stub to the south. So you can see the red location on the map. So plat F went ahead and proceeded with their drawings and got their plat approved with a stub to the south. And they also have approved construction drawings. And then we recently had an application from the Deseret Industries, Plat 1, or Plat A, Lot 1 and 2, and it made the comment that they should connect. And they have a concern with that because the DI site is already done, and then this wasn't mentioned before. We've been talking with both parties, and so this is what's in the staff report, is that maybe they shift the stubs so then it's not on the DI site at all, since that's already complete. However, WPI, which are the owners of Lot 606, have a concern with that because it then makes an odd-shaped lot for them. As far as the code goes, the code asks for interconnection. It doesn't necessarily say it has to be a private street. Most of the time, we connect driveways to driveways and drive aisles. And between talking to the two parties, they would both be okay with a more of a a parking lot connection rather than the private road connection. Of course, it's up for discussion by the council and consideration. So there are 3 motions in the packet, and we added one more on the screen. And so this one is kind of lengthy, so I'll read it. So this condition would require that the commercial plat F Lot 606 create interconnection by providing stubs in their parking lot areas at the time of site plan development at the grade that will match the existing drive aisle in Lot 2, and allow Lot 2 to complete the connection on their side. The applicant for Lot 606 may then potentially amend Lot 606 to remove Lake Drive, and then that would be a parking lot rather than a private street. Their earlier plat that you saw in November didn't have Lake Drive going all the way. And then if this option is considered, then Saratoga Springs Utah Welfare Complex Plat A Lot 2 would then be required to include their portion of the interconnection at the time of their site plan application, which is, so the last sentence there is just would happen automatically anyway with site plan. We review the interconnection, and then a lot of this would happen at site plan. That's so if we amend the plat and they change Lake Drive so it's not stubbing right there, then the interconnection would happen at site plan. In this particular situation, they're getting close to completing Lake Drive, and they fully planned to stub it where we've asked. The concern that DI is having is that they were already complete, and this is asking them to change things after the fact. So there's a few different options here. We have representatives from WPI here. I don't think we have any from the DI.
Sorry.
Go for it.
I know that you were having meetings this afternoon, because you were having them right after I left previous meeting with you. So was there any motion on?
Right. As long as it's off of the DI property, that's the preference. They do plan to gate that in the evening so that they don't get random drop-offs when they're not open. And so their biggest concern is that so they don't want it on their property. And so then this option shifts Lake Drive, which is a private road, and then comes out. But then this option here connects parking lots. Both parties they prefer not to have a connection, but if they have to choose one or the other, they option.
Can you, oh, sorry, go ahead. Can you explain connecting the parking lot? I mean, is that just a literal connection between the parking
Yeah,
lots?
so you can drive from.
Right, we do that all the time. For example, City Hall connects to the back of the Burger King,
Okay.
or the Feast Box parking lot. So we do that all the time with all the businesses. All of them generally connect their parking lots based on city code.
Like, I would love personally, I don't know about you guys, to hear from the applicant why they want less connectivity to their businesses.
Well,
Because I'm confused why
it's,
more cars driving by their businesses is not advantageous.
Yes. Yep.
I think it's the manner in which they connect is the big question. I think if it's truly the 55-foot cross-section of Lakeview, I think that's, there's more expense in building kind of a roadway, whereas if it's a 30-some-odd foot connection between parking lots, it's less impactful.
Right.
I think that's really, from what was being, I think maybe not understood with the original request down to where I think we're at now, I think we're dealing with semantics on how does it connect
Right.
and the measure in which it's connected.
I see more utility in a 33-foot wide, connection of Lakeview Road or
Lake
whatever.
Drive.
Lake Drive, rather than forcing people to drive through the parking lot of whatever business goes in that corner lot. Like, that just seems ridiculous to force anybody that wants to go get a burger that's at DI and wants to go over and get a burger in front of Home Depot to drive through the bank parking lot or whatever ends up being there. Like, it just, I would rather have a connection there. And so I'm just confused.
Foot connection.
I'm happy if it's, wide enough that two cars can pass. Like, it doesn't have to be huge. It just needs to be a drive aisle, as far as I'm concerned, but.
So you're talking about the parking lot connection?
Yeah, well, no, I'm talking about connecting to Lake Drive.
The
or
bendy
whatever.
road?
Yeah.
Whether it's, apparently has to be bendy because,
and the asphalt width isn't actually this wide, so the red line is representing
right.
53 feet, which includes sidewalks and park strips. And so 53 feet is a private street standard. The curb-to-curb dimension is about 33 feet wide. So if they just constructed curb-to-curb, it's about 33 feet.
okay,
And then a normal just driveway connection between parking lots is 24 feet wide.
right. I mean, I'd be okay if it's 24 feet wide. It doesn't need to be a full road cross-section, but I don't think going through the parking lot is the right answer.
No.
I guess that's where I'm at.
Well, I will say, it's unfortunate that DI doesn't want to participate, and I'm not in favor of forcing a private property owner now to make structural changes when we never told them that in the beginning. So that is what it is. It'd be nice if they'd work on that, but they don't want that, so you just kind of move on for that option. For me, I don't particularly care if it's the road or a parking lot connection, but can you outline where all the other entrances and exits are going to be for that particular property? Because I think we're talking about one item, 1 point, and there's like 6 others or something like that?
Right, so the red circles, we have one existing light at the red circle shown on the southern part of this page, and then the northern red circle is a future light, and then you can also, kind of where the pink roads are, those create connections around these sites, just not through them.
Well, I guess that specific site that we're talking about right now,
Well, it's that whole Home Depot development. This is just one lot of.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're working on code amendments for this, but the current code says that the interconnectivity, that's a requirement. It has to be provided in logical connections. And so the code is pretty broad. And as long as the developer, the property owner proposes some interconnectivity, it's hard for us to judge, is that logical or not? So what they've proposed is probably something that we have to accept because they are providing some form of interconnectivity. And it's basically up to their discretion. And Sarah will be, planning department is proposing some clarifications on that interconnectivity code. But right now it's pretty broad and open-ended.
Okay. Chris, do you have any thoughts on this before I entertain a motion? Councilman?
No, and I know it's hard. Well, I know it's hard to foresee what was going to come into that Home Depot development when we approved this DI. But I do feel like the interconnectivity is really important to help, retail shoppers go from location to location without hitting our bigger roads. So this interconnectivity to me is really important.
Just a follow-up, if we're going to go the path of the parking lot connection, then Lake Drive makes no sense. You're stubbing a road into a curb that serves no purpose. So, we have to either go into Lake Drive or get rid of Lake Drive is my personal opinion.
Right. One of the concerns that WPI has is that they have a recorded plat and stamped construction drawings, and so they, either way though, so if they went this route, then they would like to be allowed to amend lot 606 to get rid of that stub to, the property line, stub that doesn't connect. And then this way it would shift it, but then they have, anyhow, both of them have concerns, but they both like this option better. However, this is, not. Anyway, just however you decide to go.
And one of the concerns that was raised by DEI, and I think this is a legitimate concern that they've raised, is they're concerned about the phantom dumping of people coming and showing up and just leaving a bunch of donations. Garbage, other things that they're not there to receive. And people are just, dumping materials there. And so they are, I think, going to be coming and saying, hey, can we gate off the road that stubs into their rear parking lot? If they can gate that one off, and then that other parking lot that's right below it, when they're closed, they'd like to gate that off where it bottlenecks down a little bit further. And in doing that, it then makes the site secure so no one can go in the rear. They still might experience it in the front, but where it's more visible and it's out in the open, there's probably less likely to have that stuff happen. So
That's fine.
I think that might
I
help
do
alleviate some of their concerns.
I appreciate that concern, but at the same time, adding this interconnectivity is not going to all of a sudden increase the after-hours drop-off from what they have today. I think that's we're creating a concern that doesn't exist.
Well, no, Chris, I apologize. I'm not implying that is happening because of this connectivity. I think it's happening, and they want to resolve that issue regardless of the connectivity issue here.
Right.
That's
And
fair.
I apologize
That's
for that.
fair.
There's an existing road there, sorry,
Yes,
Mayor.
I like this piece connecting down, and I know from the Lehigh one with North Point, people drop off hazmat materials overnight, so they have to gate it off, or they end up with garbage they've got to pay to haul off. So I'm okay with them gating it too, but
Yeah.
I definitely think there's some sort of connection, whether it's 24, 23, or 33, whatever.
What, for the full road there, the 33, I can't remember. We've seen so many things lately. How far does that go up, or is that particular road designed to go to this only?
So that road goes up and around behind Wendy's and goes all the way over to Exchange. It's a continuation of that road. It's like a private road that kind of loops from this location all the way up and around over to Exchange.
So it either stops at the top of the red or at the bottom of the red?
Well, it could stop, about where the light on Commerce is, or it can continue down depending on how that connection is.
Stop right here.
They're asking the road,
We're
where
just trying to
does,
see where does Lake Drive?
I guess what's the impact on, and, sorry, I'm getting turned around in my mind on this, but what's the impact if we say, hey, adjust this plan so you don't need to do this road on this particular section? What is the impact on our overall transportation in this area?
that road used to be in the transportation master plan, and that road was removed from it several years ago.
So it's not on there.
So it's an internal road for their internal circulation. And WPI is here if you have any questions.
Well, I guess I'd be interested to hear from them. I know there's a cost difference, obviously, between the road and a driveway connection, but what's the impact to, in addition to the property? Does this have a major impact on tenants and different things like that, that maybe they're not ready to share now, but tenants that,
Applicant, do you want to answer that, or you want to come up to the table here?
does that question make sense? I mean, like, is it gonna significantly change what tenants you could offer this property to for?
You've got an error message. Are you seeing that on your screen? I think what the council's really trying to get to is if Lake Drive ends at Exchange, is there some cross-connectivity that you could allow through those lots to make it work, or should it continue as that road to the very southern edge of your property?
Right. If we didn't do Lake Drive all the way to the end, we would just expand the existing lot, provide more parking and those kinds of things. And that's why we were suggesting that while we don't have a user for that particular lot today, and as such, we don't know how to suggest an appropriate connection to the south. And so when we were talking with staff, we suggested, depending on council, we ought to just, suggest that we expand the lot, take away that connectivity, or take away Lake Drive specifically, but allow flexibility within the zone based on future layout upon that tenant to make a parking lot connection or some kind of connection at that point. But we can't say what that is until we have a tenant and
Fair enough.
know how they prefer to lay that out.
Okay. That answer your question?
As best as you can, yes.
For as vague as your question was?
Yeah, no, that was good. I know what you're saying, so.
Okay.
If you could predict the future, that would be helpful for me. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I've tried.
Any other,
I don't have any questions.
okay, then I'll entertain a motion.
What are the options again?
There's 3 options that were in the report, and then the 4th one.
Yeah,
Could you,
is option 3 the red portion? I'm just trying to, I don't know the difference between option 2 and option 3.
3 is the red portion.
Okay,
But option 3 does say that they would coordinate the exact location with SLR trip plans.
I think that's fine.
could I ask one more question before we go on? If we did just the driveway connection, right, or the parking lot connection, what additional flexibility, I'm having a hard time seeing on this. I mean, I can look at it, but what's the additional size and flexibility they would get out of that? Can you show me something on the screen?
They'd get an extra 33 feet.
Well, I know, but are the 2 adjoining like lots, like the same property owners on both sides of it?
Yeah.
Well,
They own the whole thing, right?
Different property owners. So
But-
I think you had a question about Lake Drive. So Lake Drive kind of loops through this commercial development and then
I have no idea where the mouse is.
this location here.
We can't see the mouse very well. You can see that kind of curve down those plats along
Yeah.
Redwood. It just follows that edge, straight down.
Right, but then it covers up.
yeah, it's all white. Essentially, Lake Drive comes down to this location, And yeah, it kind of gets lost here. So, does it come here? What's the connectivity here is really kind of the question that gets boiled down.
So I guess in that direction, which would be the east to it, or the north, where we're potentially talking about connection, it's a different property owner. And so we're talking about a 33-foot difference versus being able to combine two different properties and have a really wide different thing. So that answers my question.
Okay. I'll give it a shot and we'll see where this goes. I move that we approve business item 2, selecting option 3, limiting adding language that the size is also can be worked out. The cross-section, the road cross-section, be worked out with the applicants.
Okay. I have a first from Councilman Porter,
Second.
second from Councilman Wilden. Any further discussion? Councilman Podeska?
Yeah, I got a question. So it's tough for me to see remotely, but is that option removing the stub of Lake Drive and just having a parking lot connectivity?
No, option 3 would be having Lake Drive connect into the driveway with like the slightly shifted alignment.
With the shift alignment, okay, that's what I was hoping for, so I'm good there.
Okay, Councilman Carn?
Aye.
Podeska? Aye. Wilden?
Can you mute
Can you
her?
mute your mic, Chris? Councilman Carn?
Aye.
No, we can hear you talking in the background. Thanks.
So is it my turn?
Your turn.
Aye.
Councilman Porter?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. And we have need for closed session, correct, Mark?
That is correct.
Okay. We will move into, I'll entertain a motion to move into closed
So
session.
made.
Mayor,
First from Wilden.
I apologize. There's one thing I forgot to do prior to us getting there. You all received a letter from a Jeff Robe regarding the HOA park at Mallard Bay Park that was recently impacted by fire. They've made a request of you. Obviously, it's not on the agenda for tonight, but I just wanted to make sure you are aware that there is an email for you that you all may want to take a look at, and then just reach back to me and provide feedback to me if you have any questions on it.
Okay.
That's all I had. I apologize.
I have a first from Councilman Wilden.
Second.
Second from Porter. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
I think it's the first time I've ever seconded going into closed session. I never.
Why not?
What I was trying to figure out is if they.
Sorry. Hold on, Mayor.